anyone who actually does watch this. I'm going to be playing Dark Souls, I guess. But as this will be my first video, I think I should probably make it clear just why I'm creating videos. So everyone creates them for fun and everything like that. Some people do it as a job, which wouldn't be too bad. But I'm merely making it because I've had a lot of different experiences while playing games that I myself personally have got a lot of nostalgia for. There was times that I've gone back to games that I haven't played in years and this overwhelming sense of nostalgia. So I've created them more so I can come back and look at when I was playing games, and so I decided Dark Souls. So I have played this before, I've completed it a couple times, but I've picked it just because it's a game that I really enjoy, and so, yeah. So, I'm not doing anything special, this is just a normal, just me sort of playing the game, but I'll get the mouse out of the way. Um, yeah, so basically, for lack of a better word, it's just a standard thing. There's probably like a million other people that are better at it, and a million other people that are probably more enjoyable to watch than myself, to be perfectly honest. Hell, to be perfectly fair, I probably watch most of them myself. But, I don't know. As I said, I'm just creating it more so... Okay, so that's how I roll. More so I just can come back and look at these and be like, oh yeah, I remember when I played that. And I know that there's a lot of different gamers who had the same feelings. They play a game that has now become dead over the years. This is going to take me a while to get back into. Yeah, it's basically just... Yeah, so I can come back and have a look and see what it is that I enjoy about different games, or in some cases I remember that some of my more fonder memories was playing with... Yeah, I'm doing horrible. Anyway, was playing like TF2, something like that, and I've stopped playing it over the years just because I don't like what it's turned into. Now, that's not to say it's not a good game if you enjoy it all to ya. It is a good game, but when I played it, we didn't have the little cursor thing above, and there were dedicated servers. It wasn't a massive competitive scene. It was more... I don't know, casual would probably be the better word. And then Overwatch came out, and I played that for a little. I still got it. I play it every now and then I've got things. I recently got For Honored, which is probably another reason why I decided to play Dark Souls. I beat that game already. Surprisingly a short campaign, but I wasn't expecting too much from it. So yeah. But as I was playing it, all I could think was, oh yeah, I remember. This is reminding me somewhat of Dark Souls, and just makes me want to play Dark Souls, but... Yeah, so this is the Asylum Demon. This is where literally Dark Souls tells you, well, this isn't a game for everyone. But funnily enough, the actual... From what I've noticed when I'm playing, I don't know about other people, the game itself tends to... Where it changes between whether people actually play it or not is in Blighttown. Now, Blighttown is an absolute nightmare, and for those people who actually haven't played this game, I would recommend it 100%. It's absolutely amazing. While it is one of the harder gaming things you'll probably play, I'm not going to say it's the hardest because everyone's different. Some people will probably find this insanely easy, others think, I really need to focus, but, you know, fuck focusing. Yeah, basically, Blighttown is one of the worst. It's what I've seen in my experience. It's where a lot of people make or break the game. They'll play up until that point, and Blighttown will literally make them break their consoles and controllers. Now, I'm not sure if you can hear it, but there's stomping around. if you can actually come back to here, and I don't know if I'll do it in this run. I might not. It depends on people's feedback, if anyone actually does watch it, or in some cases, what I actually feel like. But if you come back and stand in this floor, it falls through and you fight another Asylum Demon. Except for this one's about 10 times more harder. I'm not exactly sure, so don't quote me on that, but it is a lot harder. Anyway, oh yeah, another thing I can point out to people. If you want to trade, there's actually the crow that we'll be meeting in a minute here. You can come here and drop stuff, and you save and quit, and he trades you items. There's a full list online on like the wiki and everything. But yeah, as I was stating, if you haven't played it, I would recommend playing it. But Blighttown is where everyone will make or break it. So what I did at the beginning of this, I picked a Pyromancer because he's the lowest, he's got the best stats for his level. He's only level 1 and he's got really good stats across the board. That's in my opinion. Everyone has their own. Pick who you want. Most people pick knights, most people pick warriors. I remember a friend of mine, he picked, well, I can't even remember what they're called, the nudist, basically. You have nothing, but you've got 10 and everything. I end up having to help him through Blighttown, but I picked the Master Keys because what you can do is there's actually a shortcut. You can just skip basically all of Blighttown. And it's... If you haven't played the game before this point, I would recommend getting the keys and trying to do Blighttown. If you can't, skip Blighttown. But try and see if you can. That's just my opinion on it anyway. Now, I like to improve my dexterity. Basically what that is it allows you to swing faster, cast spells faster, etc. Oh, god damn it, everyone's going to be screaming at me. Right. So, basically, I did forget the Pyromancer glove. And there was a reason for that. I did do it on purpose, and I'm like, oh yeah, everyone's going to be screaming, yada yada. Anyway, I left it so I can show you how to get back later. I don't want to use Pyromancy mainly, so I'm not really worried about it. I'm more going to try and set up. But when you get these, this is actually a shortcut that works, and you'll jump across onto the building. Now, I'm not concerned with using Pyromancy. Like, everyone has their own preference, and a lot of people enjoy using it. I will probably use it later in the game. I don't really want to, just at the moment. I've played this game quite a few times as Pyromancer, and I don't want to use fire in this case. I remember when the game first came out that lightning, you weren't nothing if you didn't have lightning, boys, but no. This game is challenging, but it's also very rewarding if you're that sort of person that likes to have a sense of accomplishment. No matter what happens, you can always progress if you just stay to it. But yeah, so what I did there was I went down and picked up a little storeroom of different things, and you got like that, and if you press X, well, I'm actually using an Xbox 360. If you have your menu up, you can't use any of your controls. Yeah, I'm using a 360 control, well, an Xbox One controller, technically. It's my Star Wars one. It's a little Stormtrooper one. Yeah, I use this basically for anything. I use it for For Honored as well. I might play that at some point if people want me to. But, yeah. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, I went down there and picked up a few different things. Now, you can go down there and you can pick up the Morning Star. Now, the Morning Star's a pretty good, strong, powerful thing. But I personally don't want to use that. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to play the game. I'm not going to use the shortcuts like I usually do. Oh, nah, I won't use the shortcuts like I usually do. There's a massive shortcut you can take that involves going through the back of Blighttown and through the Valley of Drakes. Now, I know it all sounds confusing because wacko names, and if you haven't played it before, you won't know. If you have played it, you still might not know, as the Valley of Drakes is not a place most people go, actually. It takes you to the bottom of, like, where the Four Kings are, that lake where the water, well, actually, the Four Kings is here. There's a bunch of water here, which I'll show you in a minute. Yeah, there's a bunch of water, and what will happen is you flooded out some doors out the back there. And the doors thing. Now, I myself personally, I don't know about everyone else, but if you come here, you'll notice some, well, undead. I should probably have locked onto him. Oh well. I prefer this. Now, everyone's going to be wondering why the hell I prefer this. And this is why I improve my dexterity. You need this. So, in this game, if you want a weapon, if you're not very good at timing or anything, and, well, to be fair, I haven't played this in a while, so as you can tell, shit. Anyway, what this allows you to do is with your shield out, you can still use this. So you can still have your shield up and use it. The only other weapon in the game that can do this is spears. Spears are the only other weapons that can do it. This, as far as I know, if anyone knows otherwise, please do correct me in the description or whatever below. You know how the hell the whole YouTube works. Anyway, yeah, if there's any others that do it, please feel free to comment on it. But I prefer this myself anyway. So if you're... This is to the back of Blighttown, by the way. This is just for anyone if you use the master keys, and I'm going to quickly pick this up. So this is the Valley of Drakes, and no one knows, but you can actually... I had the derpiest moment there. Anyway, you can come up and along here, and I'm going to grab a thing quickly. And it's probably going to get me killed, but to be fair, that doesn't really bother me too much. There are many things you can do to do whatever the hell it is you want. But at the beginning, if you play any character that doesn't really have a solid shield, I would recommend getting a shield with 100% physical resistance. Now, there's a lot of them around, and there's a lot of different things. So I'm going to grab this here. Whoops, that was not the right button. I got it anyway. So the Dragon Crest shield you can locate there, and that's a big gigantic poison dragon. Now, there's actually a path up along the rock face, but as I'm not going to be taking the shortcut, there's no reason for me to do that. So I'm going to just equip that, and now I have a 100% physical resistant shield, and I am able to actually fight my way up now. So, yeah, that's just what I like to do as a setup, different things. But yeah, as you can see, he can keep trying to hit me, but I can keep my shield up as long as I want and keep attacking him. Now, there's a few other things that I'll point out. So, there is the ability to backstab like this. Now, I'll explain because it is a bit confusing if there are new people playing this, etc. You can't have your shield up when you do it. You do a quick attack into the back, which, depending on... Well, don't ever play it on a keyboard and mouse. That's my only suggestion to people. You can't have your shield up when you do it. Because, see, it won't work. And the reason that is you're supposed to actually come up behind them while locked on without your shield up and quick attack, and it will do the backstab animation. There's also, I'm not very good at it, but you can riposte and then stab, and it will sometimes do an animation depending what happens. So as you notice, some shields, if you use a strong attack on the shield, it does that, and it allows you to flick the weapons away, and if you're... This comes in very important if you're fighting the dragon bows. They come in later, the great dragon bows. If you strong attack the arrow, it won't knock you back anywhere near as far as it used to. And trust me, those things send you flying. They're the most annoying thing that I've ever seen. And yeah, that's just different little tidbits that I've noticed myself throughout this game. So yeah, I know it's pretty shitty and I'm not playing too well, etc, etc. But yeah, just for my first video, I thought, why not? So, there's another stat that you should look at when you're getting a shield. Now, a reason why I rather like the Dragon Crest shield is it's got pretty decent stability at the point in time. So it's got good fire resistance, not too good magic, etc. But stability is how much stamina it will take away when you block a hit. Now, this might seem irrelevant to some of you, and others might actually see how important this will be. So, there's two ways to dodge an attack. One is to use your shield, the other is to roll. Now, rolling is probably the most effective, to be honest. And I'll explain that, because people might be like, oh, but the shields... Yeah. Shields are good and they can block most things depending on what shield you got. There's a dragon that's going to show up. Raw. Yeah, most shields will block basically anything. There's, depending on what their stats are, stronger attack, defense. depends on what type you want to be. You can be a defensive type, which would mean that you're basically a knight. You would start off as a knight, have really strong armor, and you wouldn't roll. They're a defensive type that's what I would call a defensive type. They're a character that involve heavy armor, heavy skills, and you can easily play that, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with playing a character like that. But when it comes to a game like Dark Souls, I find personally it is a lot more fun to play an attack sort of character. That would be a character where you would wear very little armor. And the reason you'll do that is so you can quick roll like this. Now, quick rolling, as you can see, a lot different. A lot slower, a lot more sluggish. So, the quick rolling allows you to dodge a lot of attacks. As you notice, I kept my shield up for that because there's an archer up there. And he basically will just keep attacking. Ow. Dunk. That's another reason why I like this weapon as well. It's pretty decent damage and thing. You can eventually upgrade weapons later on, and it depends on what your preference is. There are a bunch of different runs you can do. Like the one that I'll mainly do is I like doing the Black Knight Halberd. You go down, and I personally will use this exact weapon to stab him in the back and kick him off, because it's a lot faster than a lot of other weapons, in my opinion. Now, attack characters, in my opinion, as I'm not really playing one at the moment, I might switch him across into it later, depends on it. I find them a lot more fun to play when it comes to Dark Souls. Now, everyone has their own preference, etc. Some like to play the big, bulky tank characters in what they play. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've played different tanks in different games, and they're fun to play. But for this game, I find being the little fast dude that runs around like a maniac and stabs them like there's no tomorrow, like, you'll just, when it comes to something like this, you'll just roll and roll and roll. Now, there's another thing you can do if they're blocking constantly, and I've never been really good at it, but if you flick back and press your thing, you can usually do a weird kick. But for some reason, it's not letting me. I'm gonna drink this. God damn it. Now, there is a way to upgrade your Estus Flask. That's what this is at the bottom here. Now, your Estus Flasks are your... basically your key way to regain health. And you do this with Firekeeper Souls. Now, this game... I have to admit, this game has a pretty interesting story. Now, other people will say that, oh, Dark Souls doesn't have a story. Well, it does. But the developer who created Dark Souls, now, this is from what I can recall, so please feel free to check it up yourself. But as far as I can recall, from when he used to read old stories of knights and warriors and all different things like that, he himself used to, well, he liked reading them. Now, his English was not his first language. He didn't really understand a lot of the different words, different things like that. Now, the thing that occurs... once... I went very quiet there. Yeah, so he used to read these old stories of knights and warriors and all that, but because he couldn't really understand English too well, he used to be unable to understand parts of the story, so he would have to put it in himself. He's done the exact same thing with this game. Now, what I just did there was I killed him for the... I picked up a short bow there, just because it's just easier to do that now. I probably should have also picked up a... Falcone or whatever the hell. Anyway. So, all I'm trying to say is when he was reading his... I'm getting really distracted and I'm sorry for that if this is one of the most annoying things you've ever watched on the planet. But he used to not understand everything, and so he would have to put parts in himself. Now, that's basically what he's done here. He's purposely left parts out so that the fans have to figure it out. And to be perfectly fair, I rather enjoy that. It leaves the whole game up to skepticism. Now, I did skip the intro scene because I was, well, I'm not going to lie, I was testing how the recording would come out, and it seemed to work alright as far as I could tell. So we'll figure that out when I render it and put it up and all that. Now, I like it because in the beginning it explains that there was the first fire and it gave power to the different kings, and then the pygmies, which is what the humans were called. Now the pygmies, they found the shard of humanity, or whatever you want to call it. Basically they found their own little bit of flame and created the undead sort of thing, which was a curse and a plague. Anyway, but the first fire's dying and the gods are starting to lose their power. And so of course this game is you fighting your way to that point where you can make the decision to either burn yourself and keep the Age of Fire going longer, or start the Age of Darkness. Now, darkness is a thing in this game that you can use, and it'll take you back to a bonfire, and it takes away your humanity. So, yeah, for lack of a better word, it's a very rich story, but there are two serpents, I would call them. Yeah, serpents. That explain to you the different stories and stuff, and each of them have their own preference towards why they want you to do things. Now, one of them wants you to continue the Age of Fire. One of them does not. One tells the truth, one tells a lie, is what everyone says. But to be fair, I myself, I'm not 100% sure, because the Age of Darkness has made humans into these undying creatures, which to me is, I don't know whether you would see that as a good thing to bring around if humans start turning into these mindless creatures, if you know what I mean. So it's up to personal preference whether you want it to be a good thing, a bad thing. Do as you wish. Now, I'm going to go up and fight the boss here, and then I'll leave the video there. So, yeah. I know I'm very weird and talking oddly, but, I don't have the dexterity to wield that yet. Or the strength, actually. So I'll just have to stick with this. So I might change to the Morning Star for the next fight. But yeah, so it all comes down to personal preference. If you want the Age of Darkness to be this glorious thing that you bring about for the humans, and it, well, as we already know, Dark Souls 3 is out, and it takes place, basically, you've got three. So you've got, before Dark Souls was Demon Souls, then Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls 3. Now I've played Dark Souls 3, and I played a little Dark Souls 2. To be fair, I didn't really enjoy Dark Souls 2. Now, you've also got another game, which is Bloodborne. A lot of people will remember it. It's a PlayStation 4 exclusive. So I haven't played it because, PlayStation 3. I haven't played it because I don't have a PlayStation. Now, I do wish to play it, don't get me wrong. I think it'll be a very, very, well, interesting game to play. So, each of them continue in somewhat of a story, and your choices at the end of the game, well, for it to continue in its story doesn't really matter. It sticks to one path. But it is nice to make up your own little thing of what would happen. Now, I myself, I just like to usually walk away and start the Age of Darkness. I'm a rebel, woo, no. But I like the Age of Darkness because it's unknown, it's a mystery as to what will happen. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, it will be interesting. But as I stated, it's all up to personal opinion. If you want the Age of Darkness to be the worst thing that can happen to humanity, it could be an absolute nightmare to have for them, then so be it. It could be the worst catastrophical thing. It could literally... Now, that's what I'm saying when I say I don't really like the idea of it, as it makes us into these mindless things, but I do like how it's a mystery. So I don't like how it makes us into zombies. I think I would prefer it if the characters all had their own sort of will or choice or decision, if that makes sense. Because in my own opinion, for each character, it doesn't make sense that they're just mindless. I would like to think that they all originally had their own desires, like all the sort of main characters, protagonists, etc. Oh, God. Yeah, so I myself, personally, I like to... Oh, this is gonna hurt. Oh, okay. Alright. Yeah, so I like to think that they all had their own desires, admirations, and they all wanted to do their own thing. Because I like the idea. Now, I like lightning as well, because you can, if you deal enough damage to bosses, some of them will get stunned like him. So I kind of just sort of stunned him so he couldn't do too much and stayed in between his legs. But yeah, that's just what I like. I like the idea of this unknown, but I would prefer to think that they all had their own desires and admirations. But as for a first episode, I think I'll leave it at that. And if you liked the video, leave a thumbs up. If you didn't, leave a thumbs down. Your opinion. If you think my video is shit, if you want to see more, say what you would like me to play if you would. Or if you would like me to continue in this, I'm more than happy to play this some more if everyone would like. Other than that, that's me, and I'm going to sign out, so...